What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 27 of the Dragoncast. My name is Brian Daniels, and I'm back once again with my podcasting partner in crime, Victor Salazar. What's up, Victor? How you doing today, man?
What's going on, guys? Right here, sunny California. Still getting up once again, you know. I'm surprised I get these shows done so early in the morning.
I know, right?
I mean, it's not 6 a.m., but hey, you know, nevertheless.
Oh, my God. I know, right? Well, today it's another week of guest week here on our show, and today we have none other than Carl Doninger of PopCon. And obviously, I mean, he's got the hat and the shirt. What's going on, Carl? How you doing today, man?
Hey, doing well. Thank you guys for having us.
Man,
I guess. Carl. Welcome, Carl.
Yeah, welcome, Carl. He's one of the co-owners of PopCon. PopCon has been going around since 2014. It's been 7 years. It's crazy, man, to think that
going around makes it sound like a disease.
I know, right? No,
man. Word choice, my friend.
Oh, well, okay. So PopCon has been happening. It's been happening since 2014, and yeah, this would be the 7th year. It's still going to be the 7th year. It's come hell or high water, it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And not quite in the more traditional way, sort of speaking. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it could happen. We don't know yet. But we're going to talk about that today. And so Carl is the man with pretty much all the answers. He's the go-to guy for everything. And Carl, thank you so much for being on the Dragoncast today.
Happy to be here.
Great to have you here. And so let's just get right into it, man. Let's not waste no time. So Carl, you guys started PopCon via Kickstarter in 2013.
Tech, kind of. Yeah.
I actually have
far
the
enough
whole
away
paper.
from it that we can give out the whole answer here. So
yeah. Talk about that.
We self-funded because we had so many owners. We self-funded the event itself, at least to get it going. The Kickstarter was primarily a marketing tool, and the benefit out of that is we put carpet in the aisleways. So that really put the carpet in the aisles. Yeah.
That's a good way of doing it, man.
It really makes for a fancy pop culture convention because most don't do that.
No, they don't.
So it's and we've actually shied away from it because when you grow, our last year we had over a mile of 10-foot wide carpet, and that gets to become very expensive.
Oh yeah. I when I pulled up the old Kickstarter page, I noticed the carpet like right away, and I will say I've been to a ton of conventions, and that was really nice. You guys made a point to make sure that your attendees are comfortable. That's walking around, because man, I tell you what, when you walk around like that at a con, and you're on hardwood floor or you're on concrete. It gets to be pretty much. Oh, I got the dog. Oh, I got the doggy.
He was going to start barking at me, so I had to pick him up.
Oh.
the other one's off camera over here.
So. Oh yeah.
That's not the white one though. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no.
This one's
you know what?
Oh.
I have a white mini poodle, and that guy sheds like crazy. And as a matter of fact, I have that scheduled for today. I gotta shave him. So it's
man.
So I can relate with the white dog hair all over the place over black, you know? So,
right.
Or over anything actually.
So you guys did the Kickstarter. You guys did the Kickstarter, and that was relatively successful. I mean, getting the funding from that as well, I'm sure.
It was, because we didn't know Kickstarter wasn't very old even back then in the grand scheme of things. Kickstarter's gone off to much bigger and greater things than what ours was. It was successful, and especially from the marketing side, it was absolutely successable. It helped get the word out.
I think that's a good way of doing that. I like that. It would, like you just said, it's a great way of putting the word out there and get the fans to be a part of PopCon. Say, hey, you know what? I contributed to this event. That's pretty cool, especially when you guys are just starting out.
Yep, absolutely. We were brand new. We came up with the term PopCon, so we're the only one in the country, and we technically have trademarked it. So. We just wanted to be our own thing, and Kickstarter was a great way to get that started.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was very important to you guys to make this all about being a local convention too. That's the one thing I will say that one of the many things I love the most about PopCon is it's all about indie and making it local and trying to shy away from being that big corporate convention. that's one of the main things I love about you guys is it's not that big corporate entity that's running a show.
Right. And there's a lot of layers to what you just said. So let's break that down a little bit. So part of our mission statement is to grow the economic impact of Central Indiana in the downtown core specifically, because that's what we touch the most. But we branch off into all the local stores as best we can to help get them business throughout the year. But we wouldn't be a successful international convention, which we have been, if we didn't draw people from everywhere. So our marketing is we sell ourselves in a little bit of two fronts. So we definitely want this to be the homegrown. We're Indianapolis, we're Indiana, we're doing this for Indiana, but we don't want that to shy people away from coming in from everywhere.
Right.
So it's a balancing act, because if we're getting only people from Indianapolis, it's just the left hand paying the right hand. But if we're bringing the money from all over the country and several other countries over the years, then we're actually creating a positive economic impact on Indiana.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't want to just cater to your local crowd. I mean, of course, that's one of the many goals I'm sure you have, is making sure you're keeping your local fans happy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, once you get here, you understand the Hoosier hospitality and the local flair that we throw in, and all our local tie-ins, but you don't have to be from here to appreciate all that.
Right. What are some of the ways you try to cater to those that are not local to Indy? Like, what are some things you do? I know, like take Victor, for instance, he's all the way in LA. So what is it that you do?
Why would I come from all the way from LA? Well,
Why would I be in PopCon?
One of the things that PopCon, I think, has broken the mold a little bit on pop culture conventions, especially the multi-genre pop culture convention, is we have so much to do, not just see.
Yeah.
So we've had the esports tournaments, the escape rooms, the laser tag, the virtual reality. We've got film festivals. We've got the podcast awards. We've got one of the best cosplay contests in the Midwest, if not the country.
Nice.
So we try, and we've been event driven too with our evening program. Like last year, we had Christian Nairn spinning at our after party. And it was amazing. Like, I couldn't believe how well that turned out. So it's just we try and have things not just go do the obvious things, the vendor hall and the celebrities, which you can't not do those things. And they're a huge part of the draw, but it's when you get into the bigger picture is why you would really come to a PopCon versus your local event.
Yeah, because you can go to a con and you can see the sites and hit booths and buy stuff, but it's always about what you can do. What's going to make it different from any other convention, And I like the idea of it having such a broad range of events. If you're going to have the escape rooms plus the cosplay, that's all that stuff is pretty cool. And I think that's something that I would definitely enjoy, just to have events and something that I could personally take part in.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, you guys have always done a good job, because the thing about most of the conventions I've gone to is they're very they get that tunnel vision of they're very focused on just like celebrities, right? Like, who can we get in? What's the star power we can bring in so that our attendees are spending money? And I get that, like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, I get like PopCon, you guys are a business, you guys are wanting to make money. I think a lot of people sometimes forget that, especially those that are in Indy that are local, and they're they kind of they don't kind of see it from both sides. And you guys are a business. At the end of the day, the goal is to make money, but that's not just your focus, and that's the difference. That's what kind of sets you guys apart from a lot of the places I've been to. And Carl, I know you've been to several conventions yourself. You didn't just do this on a whim. No.
Several conventions. Yes.
I mean, so you guys don't just focus on the celebrities. You guys are, you try to really give the attendees, you have a good flavor of different things. And you also have people that you assign these things to, right? Like, you have a person that specifically does panels. You have a person that is in charge of that. You've got a person or a couple people that are in charge of, like you said, the cosplay contest, which has been great. You know, and et cetera, you know, and and as far as when it comes to putting the panels and stuff together, you know, what is it that you guys look for when you guys are trying to put these panels, what make them so unique to your convention?
I think that we draw the majority of our content from the community itself.
Mm-hmm.
So if the community's putting it on, that's because the community wants to see that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't really weeded out much as far as the community submissions. We've just grown our ability to show more over the same time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's a balancing act on what fits in where. And Bree does a fantastic job of not scheduling two cosplay things in two different rooms at the same time, or sci-fi things at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
we can't do it every time, because sometimes it's scheduling impossibility to fit everything in and not crossover, or scheduling the celebrity panels of those celebrities that we do bring in, so that they don't draw people away from the vendor hall at the wrong time. Or there's a lot of factors that go into our thinking on all that. We don't just throw it into a mixer and put it on a calendar. There's a lot of thought behind it.
Yeah. And so I gotta know, like, leading up to doing PopCon, where did you get this crazy idea of trying to do a convention, Carl? I gotta know, like, what was the start? I mean, obviously you're a con goer. You were before this even happened. I mean, I know you've been to Gen Con and all that stuff. So, like,
since we're on a limited format here, I'll give you the media version for much longer. I started my pop culture convention experience with Gen Con.
Of course.
In 2003, when they moved from Milwaukee to Indianapolis,
Mm-hmm.
We became very spoiled. And that first year I was an attendee, but the second year, through whatever connection it was, I don't even remember.
I think my affiliation with the Boy Scouts, actually, if I remember correctly, that's the cool. Indirect tie. But I became a volunteer with the Gen Con organization, including the Star Wars Celebration 4, where they flew me out to LA there, Victor, to volunteer out there in LA when Gen Con was actually the event management company running Star Wars Celebration back then.
That's cool.
And it was a fantastic experience, but I kind of lucked into becoming one of their senior volunteers without having to do the years of work that it requires to become that level, because I was willing to jump in when many people couldn't.
Gotcha.
So they allowed me to continue along even on Gen Con as a senior volunteer. So you get a lot of ideas from going or being at least partially through that front door of how a Gen Con works. I mean, it's a massive beast, and there's no way that you could learn everything, but you get a lot of confidence in being able to run your own event. So my best friend Ryan and I, we decided that we wanted to run another gaming convention 6 months out of Gen Con, because that's my geek, my initial geek. It's not my only geek anymore, but I was a board gamer and sci-fi fan. Those were kind of my things. And the board gaming, we didn't want to wait a full year for Gen Con every year.
Another one,
so we actually pitched to Gen Con to run a month or 6 months out, so in the February timeframe, to run a midwinter Gen Con. And but they were going through restructuring at the time themselves, so that wasn't in their new concept, which has definitely worked out for them, because I think they've doubled their attendance since we asked that question of them. So it's done. Whatever they did it very well. Go Adrian. She really grew the organization. But so we took that concept, and then so my friend Ryan, his kids went to school with another gentleman who is one of the owners of comicspriceguide.com, which is also local here to Indianapolis, and they're the largest comic book comic book repository of, you put in your collection and it'll tell you what it's worth, and trade and buy and sell, and it's the biggest one on the internet that does that. Comicspriceguide.com, all one word. Hey, you're welcome, Brian, that owns that, not you, Brian. But they were just chatting, I'm thinking, around school, and they wanted to start a Comic-Con here in Indianapolis, a comic convention. And we met over lunch back in 2012. I think it was 2012. And we just put our two ideas together and essentially came up with PopCon. So we kind of fell into a multi-genre event. So we brought in all expertise from all the owners that decided to buy in at that point, because Indianapolis just didn't have anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, Indy. Yeah, I actually, like you, I went to the first Gen Con back in 2003. Man, tell you what, that's night and day difference of how it is now.
It is and it isn't. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they've definitely grown, but the feel's still the same.
Oh yeah.
That's when you go to an event like Gen Con or an event like PopCon, you go there every year because you're meeting your friends, your geek family, and you want to go back every year because sometimes that's the only time you get to meet them throughout the year, and they all congregate for a weekend and hang out and have fun. And we wanted definitely to take that essence from Gen Con and bring it into PopCon, and I think we've been pretty successful with that.
Yeah, and that's something that we've emphasized a lot on our show, is the greatness of the community, whether it be gaming or pop culture or whatever it may be. When we get together in conventions like this, it's just a big family. Everyone hangs out and has a great time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what's been pretty bad about everything going on so far in the world. Is it's made that pretty challenging. Having I think I've only been to one convention so far this year, and that was like literally, I think we were like 2 weeks in on the whole COVID-19 deal. But so you guys obviously had to make some tough decisions.
Yes.
And
so, yeah,
I will say this. Yeah, you guys had to make some tough decisions. I know the PopCon group. I will say about the PopCon group, it is probably the more tame of the convention groups that I'm a part of anyway. Of course, with what was going on, you kind of had to deal with some people, that were just kind of impatient and didn't quite get that, you don't just make business decisions like that and just tell people things.
Our community is used to us communicating often and with general frankness. Yeah. So we don't usually hold a lot back, but during the process that we were having to go through, we had to be pretty quiet to do everything that we needed to do in the right order in order to get the most back for everybody to survive. So since PopCon's dates from July 10 through 12 technically fall outside of the state's restrictions, we were having to do all the legwork instead of the state telling us we can't do it. We had to do it in reverse. We're having to tell the government and the local officials that we cannot operate on those dates, even if you're telling us that we can, because it's probably still not going to be safe. So we were having to do things in reverse.
Yeah.
It puts you in a very tough spot too.
Yes, that is the nice way of putting it. It was a very tough.
Yeah, I mean, I know that people were getting pretty impatient on wanting to know what was going on, and I mean, I get, like I said earlier, that's not something you don't want to just say something to appease people. I mean, and and you want to make sure that when you are ready, I knew you guys were going to say something. I have the utmost faith in you guys. You've been doing this. This isn't like this is 2014 and this is your first thing, right? You guys have been doing this for years now. So, that it's not an easy decision to make, and you don't just make a snap decision like that. But I will say that you guys are doing a virtual con now. And
at a minimum, yes.
Yep. And at the minimum. Tell us what that's been like for you guys. Like, I've always wondered, like, what's that like doing a virtual con, man? That's got to be some challenging.
I'll tell you on July 13th.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I
we
think you heard it here, folks. I think he'll be back.
Yeah.
Let's know how that went.
we've seen what other people have done, and we want to be more than what has been done. If that makes any sense, we want more of. Obviously, we can't recreate our live event and have the camaraderie and everything that you can get out of just being in person with everyone. You just you cannot recreate that online, or at least not with the PopCon spirit, so to speak. But we're still trying to. We're going to be doing the film festival for sure, and then anything else that can be a video, we're trying to make a video. So the podcast awards, however we organize that. We're going to be doing the community panels, as many of them as we can squeeze in, and still keep people entertained. We don't want to put too much content out there to where we've lost focus completely in the opposite direction. We're going to do our best to create a workable virtual vendor hall so that you can at least get access to the people that can do shipping. I'm guessing not every vendor is going to be able to do that. And we're working on evening events. Some of them will not be kid friendly, which is something that we've been trying to break out of the PopCon mold a little bit. We've been almost family friendly to a fault, and we want to start creating more laughable moments into adult humor. So there are things that I think we can do there in the evenings. So we're still putting it all together, but the hardest part is the technology behind all of it. So I'm no slouch when it comes to computers, and that makes me both lucky and dangerous, because I think we can do more than we maybe can. So we're actually looking for other tools to help facilitate that, so that we don't have to recreate the wheel in now 4 weeks.
Right.
That time crunch for this unprecedented time, it's so different now that we're trying to get virtual cons going, that it's really unheard of and unseen.
Yeah.
So you really are kind of just starting, I don't want to say from scratch, but you are starting from like saying, all right, what can and can't we do? And that's a dangerous mind to have, like, hey, I want to do more than what's capable,
Yeah,
it is kind of from scratch. So all our celebrity contracts will have to get reworked for any of those that want to participate on one-on-ones and even a celebrity panel. All that has to get renegotiated in a very short time frame. And it's not necessarily lucrative for just about anybody to do it this way. So granted, the virtual event, and I think that this message has been lost on pretty much every angle, but the virtual event is really just bonus. So that's not anybody that pre-purchased a ticket or the vendors that have signed up to be part of PopCon. All this is separate of that. You're already in kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you're still going to get a live event. You're still going to get, whether that be this year or next year, it's or the year after that. I mean, there's no reason that if you can't make next year's date, we can't keep kicking that can down the road for you.
Sure.
Because we want everybody to get the benefit that they signed up for. So the virtual stuff is all just, if you want to participate, please do kind of thing. And we're going to give you as much content as we can within our ability to do so.
Cool. So and I just want to make things clear. Are you guys selling badges for this virtual con, or is this just, how is that going to work? Like, if I don't, I never had a badge to begin with. I never purchased a badge to go.
Yeah, well, you applied for a press badge, which you do have. You just don't have it in the system yet.
Sure. but I'm afraid.
You do have access. You just don't know it yet. But all the content is going to be paywalled in some fashion.
Okay.
Because we want the people that did pre-purchase to have a benefit to having pre-purchased.
Right.
Now, we haven't officially decided on what those that hadn't pre-purchased will have to do in order to gain access.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's two, and I'm not, there's two different directions we can go.
Yeah.
And we don't know which one it is yet.
Okay.
So I can't really answer that question. And,
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because we haven't officially decided, but it's going to happen very soon.
Yeah.
The event
Of
itself
course.
is very soon.
Yeah.
The challenges of going virtual, man.
Yeah, the challenges of going virtual.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it easy when other events are much beyond our scope, like San Diego Comic-Con coming out this week saying, we're going to give you a free virtual event.
Oh, wow.
Things like that don't help because
Yeah.
we don't have their resources. We don't have their connections, I guess, to in order to get. They're probably getting things in a different way than we would be able to.
Oh, sure.
But
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to put on a product that is just as good as a San Diego Comic-Con online, because I know the technology doesn't exist for anybody to do it better than about the way we're about to do it. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that was going to be the thing I wanted to kind of go into too, is the technology, the moving parts behind it all is, we're in uncharted territory. You can't, everybody's in a way on kind of an even playing field, cause who thought we would ever get into a point where we'd have to do this stuff virtually, like conventions? Like I've never been to a virtual con. You guys will be the first virtual con I'll cover and do an article about stuff.
And it will get better very quickly, because even in the 3 months, new things have come out, but it won't be ready by July 10th. And so we'll see what comes about. And if virtual is a valid way of doing what we're able to do with the panels and the film festival and the podcasts and the cosplay contest and doing everything that we can do virtual, because it is something that you see, not necessarily do, board gaming online, video gaming online. We're going to try and incorporate much of that in addition to all the celebrity interactions that we hope to be able to provide. Then if that works, it really could change the face of pop culture events, even when we are able to go live again, because then we will be able to truly go global, because the events that are happening live with an audience in person, and you're actually able to chat, meet, buy, do everything real easy. We're going to be able to offer that at the same time to people all over.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting experiment from that standpoint. And it's just something that we're going to hopefully be able to hone at least a good enough idea to be able to turn this around. And this may turn into our ability to do multiple events throughout the year. And then it all culminates with the big PopCon, the live PopCon.
Yeah, that would be great if you would be like, hey, we can have separate events virtually, and then it leads up to the live event, which, I think that'd be a great idea to do. But again, that's just, my thoughts, my opinions. Just something that would definitely draw the attention of those outside of indie.
Uh-oh, there we go.
So it was popping up on my screen too. So as people get more and more used to doing like exactly what we're doing right now. I mean, 4 months ago, how many people had used Zoom more than once ever? And now it's a daily occurrence for many people, whether it's whatever the technology is. Zoom is becoming the verb almost more than they're the Kleenex brand of video casting, but they're not the only tool out there. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know of any. I'm not sure that we are going to be using Zoom at all during the virtual event, believe it or not. So, but so the overall landscape is changing and people's mindsets changing. And boy, how easy is it to if I want to go to an event, like San Diego Comic-Con. I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con, but I might actually tune in for whatever they've got going just to see it. Now, granted, it's 2 weeks after our show, So maybe I'll be burnt out and not care anymore. But I am interested and to learn and to see what they do, because 2 weeks is a long time right now. And even we're 4 weeks out from our event. Lots of things can happen in 4 weeks when you don't have to coordinate all the physical stuff. And there's a lot that we can organize if we really put our fingers to the keyboard.
So man, it's just you guys have been doing this thing for, like I said, for the 7th year. You guys are doing this now.
I'm restarting my audio.
You're good, buddy. What have been some of the, obviously, other than doing it on a computer, what are some of the other challenges you guys face between doing this virtually versus doing it in person?
Communication. So there's been a lot of confusion about what the virtual event really entails, and we'll be, once we have a direction and a product of the virtual product itself to actually promote directly, I think we'll be able to make it clear. But this gray period that everybody, I think, feels like they're in, what do we get? What's going on? Those are questions that we couldn't answer until we have the process behind it. So I think I've mentioned online several times that we've had to do everything in order. We were spending 2 months to work around not doing a live event exactly when we were supposed to be doing a live event. And we were working with the city and IU Health, and Visit Indy, which is the local visitors bureau, and the convention center, and the mayor's office. And I mean, seriously, we were working with a lot of people that all have different motivations, agendas, and stress factors. And then dump all of our motivations and stress factors on top of it, on top of all our attendees and vendors and everybody else. I mean, there's just everything. The whole process is just one big bundle of stress, and we were trying to contain the beast. And
it's a lot of moving parts.
And we had to do it all in order. So we had to renegotiate things that weren't really renegotiatable, and I made that word up, that they weren't able to be renegotiated, but we worked it anyway, because everybody recognizes that these are unprecedented times. And right now, nobody expects things to be just status quo. So everybody that we've worked with through that process, we've all come out the other end, I think, better for it, with whatever their motivations were in what their jobs are. So.
Uh-oh.
All right.
That happens. I had my wife walk in the last video feed we had, so it's all good.
I know the one thing about having a live show or trying to do a live show later, you and I have talked about this before, Carl, is trying to get a date. I know the convention center, man, that's a beast in and of itself, right? Trying to get a date down.
It is and it isn't. The convention center is incredibly easy to work with, and they're such a talented group of people, and they'll go out of their way to make something work if it's within the rules and their capabilities. So because Indianapolis is the #1 convention city in the country, with the convention center and the airport, #1 airport, and there's a lot of businesses that want to be here. And in the bigger picture, we're small potatoes, and we've had to be very flexible on both sides, not just us. The convention centers had to be a little flexible, and we appreciate that. And so the dates are the dates, and we've tried to stay in the summer time frame, and we do have our dates for next year, but there's no ink on paper yet. So part of their rules that we actually try and abide by is we don't announce dates until there's ink on paper. So
it's a good thing to do. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to make a promise to your fans and then have to move it around again. Which I'm glad that you guys did keep the dates of the con. Like, even if it's virtual, you guys are still doing it on those dates. I know there's been some cons that they decided to postpone it, and then they didn't have it on the original date, so they're doing their virtual con on a later date.
Yeah, I think the dates are, like you said, they're kind of a promise.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
especially with the film festival, we didn't because that people's projects depend on independent films depend on festivals like the one that we've started this year, and we want to make sure that we're being responsible with their trust in us to hold their film. And that, again, that goes back to the technology. We were going to be showing it in person, and now we have to do it virtually in a safe way. And that's part of one of our stress factors, but we're working that one out. And I think we've got a method for it, so that they can confidently, we can confidently stream their picture, and that's it. It's not anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that has to happen.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Like, someone trying to rip their, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, Carl. I didn't think about that. Man, that is an interesting challenge to face.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy challenge, and it's not one that I thought of either, but it's something that needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I think we've got a process to do that. And our friends down in Cincinnati with Horror Hound, they did their film festival on their second schedule, so they've been moved twice. And were forced to outright cancel for 2020 in Cincinnati, but they went ahead and did their film festival, and through osmosis we learned some of what they did, and I think we're going to be able to pick up and run with that ball. So
are you guys still planning on having like games in some way, shape, or form? I know that a lot, like, me going to PopCon, I've been every year. You guys have demos, or you try to incorporate like some tabletop gaming. You guys have a plan in place to do that virtually in some way?
We have the drive to put that in place. Yes. Now the methodology is a little bit different. There haven't been any big gaming events yet virtually. Some have done little pieces, and that's probably what we're going to be able to do, is little pieces.
Sure.
So coordinate games through, and then again, this could change in the next 4 weeks, but coordinate games through Discord, Tabletopia, Tabletop Simulator, Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, depending on what the game is. In some of those things, in fact, all but 2 of the ones I think I just said have their own pay function, which is outside of our world.
Wow.
That we can coordinate the connectors, meaning we can be the event that's putting on, or we can be the show that's putting on that gaming event, but you're going to have a Tabletopia subscription if one's applicable, or tabletop simulator software on your computer. Or if you're a dungeon master, you're probably going to have paid for a year or a monthly service for Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds in order to do the role playing. So there's a bigger thing going on there than just our ability to schedule it as an event. And we'll have to make that clear with everybody. But there are, especially in Indianapolis, I mean, we're board gaming mecca. There's a lot of people that do have that stuff, and because it's virtual, it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you know that the event's happening and you have that software or that ability to connect, or that gaming group. Then we can coordinate. We should be able to coordinate it all.
Now, I have a quick question in regards to what I'm calling PopCon After Dark. I know you had made mention of a more adult PopCon.
The After Dark moniker is what we were going to call our Facebook group.
Oh, really?
Ooh, okay. Nice. All right.
Without giving too much away, what exactly are what's streamlined for that? What exactly are you trying to provide the fans in regards to that After Dark portion?
I think there are a lot of opportunities. We have an improv group that's going to be doing a show called Breakfast Anytime, and again, these things are not on the schedule, but it's very likely. But they will be able to use their own vernacular and don't have to dumb it down. We might play Cards Against Humanity with a celebrity or two.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Which is not kid friendly
No,
by its own nature.
not at all.
We all know this.
Yeah.
But there, maybe if we are able to, maybe some Jackbox games, which can often be not kid friendly.
Right.
So it's items like that. So it's the fun side of things that you don't necessarily want your 8-year-old to watch, if that makes sense. So we've incorporated a little bit more and a little bit more every year, and we've marked it as 18 plus, which is how we'll probably mark it again, as 18 plus. But the parents can determine that from there. But we've mixed in burlesque shows. We a couple of years ago we had a hentai. I think hentai. We had a hentai panel. So those are things that are clearly closed door. We had extra staff guarding the door and essentially IDing them like they're going into a bar kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a great idea.
We've slowly been breaking out of our has to be family friendly 100% of the time mold because there are, even in 7 years, our 16-year-olds are now 23.
Right.
They want to grow up with us too.
Yeah,
so we have to have that kind of content.
That's a great way to.
No, I think that's a great idea because you know what, being a dad, I can be like, hey, let's go to PopCon, and we can hit the kid-friendly site. We can go do all that stuff, and then you know what, later on, date night with the wife or whatever, hit the burlesque, or do something along those lines. So I think it's a great way to be able to, address all demographics and age ranges there. That's a pretty cool idea. I love it.
Yeah, I definitely love the way you guys, you guys try to evolve, and you've done a really good job of that over the years. With what you've tried to do and the programming that you've tried to offer people, has been phenomenal. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys have in store for this virtual con. So, is this virtual con going to be all on the PopCon site? Like, is it going to be accessible from there?
Yes. Yes. I'll just say yes. So it's not to confuse everybody, but the longer answer is the technology that we're going to employ will likely take you to another website, but you'll be able to get there from PopCon. So the PopCon can be your starting point 100% of the time, but that may not be where you land. But that's just because our web server, our technology, our WordPress, all that jargon, we just wouldn't be able to handle the video content. So we have to do new technologies that can handle that kind of streaming and video on demand kind of play.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You got to be able to make sure that you have those things working out for people and stuff. One thing I want to talk about is this film festival. I'm excited for that. This is the first year you guys are doing this, right?
That's correct. So 3 shows ago, 2016-ish, we did kind of a very amateur YouTube kind of video event to where we had a bunch of YouTube video creators come in and show their video. I keep saying video, but show them their mini movies. But it wasn't really a film festival, though we treated it kind of like one. But this one is a true organized from the ground up, run by people that run film festivals event. So we're following all the normal film festival timelines, rules, payment structure, showing. Well, I mean, we're going virtual, so it's a little bit different. But it was all going to be scheduled like a movie theater, and will be again. But now we have to do it online. But it's a full-fledged film festival. So if you've ever been to a film festival, we're going to be as close as you can get to the be online.
Yeah. Red carpet and all, right? Virtual red carpet.
You just have to pop your own popcorn now.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Is this, you had mentioned that, doing this for the first time. Is this something that maybe we'll see again next year? Depending on
the film festival?
Well, not only that, but the doing
virtual.
A virtual con.
I think that goes back to it. We definitely are experts at the live events. And if we are even remotely good at what we're trying to do in July with the virtual events, I think we will marry the two at the same time. So in the future, if you're asking me this in the middle of June in 2020.
Sure, yeah. All things
The
considered,
world is still
how
in a
well
different
it goes.
place, but
Right, yeah.
I see them happening concurrently in the future, and I don't think that's just us. I can't imagine that we're the only ones
Yeah, that's
thinking
right.
there. So I think the more successful we can become with the virtual aspects, there are people that just simply can't come in from Seattle every year for PopCon.
Yeah.
And so they might take a break one year and do the virtual aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And what that ends up being, I don't know. It might be we record a panel and then it goes online hours later.
Yeah.
Maybe we're at a facility to where we can stream it live. The convention center isn't necessarily the best place to do live streaming, unfortunately, but there are abilities to make it as close to live as possible, so that people can still see their celebrity panels and do maybe even have an hour or so each day to where people that aren't at the events at the convention itself can meet them one-on-one like we're doing right now. There are lots of things we can do, or maybe now that I'm thinking right here on the fly, maybe we have the people that of the celebrities that could come, the celebrities and YouTubers that could come, and then we have a complete separate batch that are only online. So
that's a good idea. Yeah, because I know
there's lots of different ways you can go. So
yeah.
It's really down to how far we want to push the envelope and how much content we want to make available to somebody that's not physically at the event. So
this is
that's a long answer to a short question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity. And even like I think we talked about a little bit earlier too, is there might be monthly events. Maybe we have a DJ concert in May, but we do it only online, or maybe it's both. And it just if we get anything out of the last 3 months, 4 months, whatever it's been now, there are a lot of things that we can do differently and still get a lot of entertainment out of it.
Carl, considering that, the virtual con is being built from the ground up, does this feel very similar to when you first started to come up with the idea of PopCon?
A little bit. And it's mostly because we need to keep within a very strict budget, and we need to be able to provide as much as we can within that budget so that people get their money's worth. And what that may, again, we don't know what that money's is yet. But again, if you pre-purchased, you're in no matter what. So, and you're still going to get your live event. This is all bonus to anybody that has pre-purchased. And except the one-on-ones. So when we're scheduling celebrities, that's going to be a completely different contract, completely different ticket that you're going to have to buy in order to meet your celebrity one-on-one online. Just because that's outside of anything that we could just pay out of pocket for. It's just that's not the way it works. So. But yeah, there's a lot of exciting things. And yes, to answer your question, it is a little bit like running the first one, except we've scheduled panels now before. We've done the esports, we've done the board gaming. We just have to do it in a different way. It'll be difficult to do laser tag. It'll be difficult to do it's the funny one to me is one of my favorite things at PopCon is the virtual reality, and you can't do virtual reality virtually.
Right.
That's so weird.
Imagine the one that figures that out. Let's do virtual reality virtually, guys. I got
it. What has it been like talking to the celebrities about this situation? I've always wondered that. How's that been like?
Like, what's that feel? Huh?
Speaking with them about the current global situation, and then
they're in the same boat we are. So their business, like ours, typically requires you to be in person doing your job. And we've been working with a lot. I don't know if you've been watching the Magnificent Seven series, but we've been talking with a lot of celebrities that are coming this year or have come in the past, or even brand new ones that we've never even spoken with. And they're all really saying the same thing: is that Hollywood doesn't know what's going on yet. The voice actors are still able to do their job because they usually record from home anyway and send in their audio files. But in order to produce the content that they're doing the voices for, it's having to go to a company that has to have a bunch of employees and working together. So the whole process of filming and production and everything is just slowing down or stopped in most cases, just because until they come up with safe ways of doing things, there's just no current methodology for them to do their job. And then they feel it, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the events industry and the film industry and cruises and airlines, and it's all over the place, and it's just different, and we all have to figure it out.
Yeah, my understanding is, here in Hollywood, production companies are just starting up, they just started up last week at a limited capacity because, everything was just at a standstill until things got better.
Yeah, and I think they're doing things very differently. Limited sets. I don't think they're going to hire extras. So what we do see may not seem as grandiose. Like there won't be a big street scene kind of thing that they're filming, and they're brilliant. I mean, shoot, they've been doing it for 70, 80 years now. They're going to come up with ways to make it look the same.
Figure it out.
Just made in a different way. And
they've had to evolve as the time goes on, like you just said. I mean, motion picture has been evolving for years, and I mean, I have the utmost faith in that industry, and just like I do in the convention scene, all these cons having to, like Gen Con, for instance, they're doing a virtual thing. Obviously that's not going to be the same, but none of these cons are going to be the same because, you take out that in-person element away. That's, like you said earlier, that's why these people get together. They don't see their friends all the time. And we've all had to do things differently. You were talking about earlier using Zoom. I didn't know Zoom was around as long as it has been.
I have a quick question in regards to that now. You just brought up a point about the community, Brian. Carl, if we do a virtual con, would we be able to do like a party where we can enjoy it with our friends, or is that a solo thing?
I'll think on that. We're going to incorporate live chat along with as much of the content as we're able to. But again, we're 4 weeks out. I don't know what we're going to be able to pull off, but it all just comes down to what physically exists at the time that we're be able to do the thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was just thinking, speaking of community, I was like, oh, Brian, I would love to check this out with you if we can do it together, but
it's going to be more like the Twitch and Mixer experience than it is the all laughing together in the panel room experience.
Gotcha.
Because I don't know of another way of doing it. Yeah. So
have you had any opportunities to watch, like, I don't know if you're a big sports guy like me, have you watched any of these things where there's no crowd and it's
that's insane?
It's so weird.
Yeah, I haven't yet. I've watched some golf, and I've definitely I was already an avid YouTube watcher, but I've watched even more of that lately.
Yeah.
So there's things that people are doing, and there's a lot of content being made. It's just not the traditional content. It's really shining a light on those people that are making the non-traditional content. It was really funny to me as a tangent when the Tonight Show and the Late Show and when they all were forced to go home pretty much at the snap of a finger, they could not stream for anything. And it cracked me up. These shows that are the ultimate professional content, they can't work outside of a studio, and it made me chuckle.
That's crazy.
They've gotten a lot better at it.
They have. It was great watching like Jimmy Fallon. He has kids on there, and his kids were like bothering him, and you could see like he's trying to be professional and not get annoyed by his children.
And
that cracks me
Colbert,
up.
he was just he was on a like the equivalent of a bad cell phone the first time, and Seth Meyers bounced around to 4 different rooms in his house before he ended up in his attic for his studio. And, it's just funny. But even they adapted, and the show
They
still had
adapted,
pretty
yeah.
darn good
Had to.
content. So
And
it's a whole new world.
It's
different. Yeah.
it's been fun to. It's kind of weird, but it's been kind of fun to watch how these people have to adapt to doing these things. Like, even watching musicians like from their home doing this YouTube. I mean, it's so weird seeing them doing like YouTube videos to show off their music and stuff. But that's what you do. You have to adapt to survive and to keep your business growing. And once again, PopCon's a business, right? And you guys have to figure out ways to survive through these very interesting times that we're in. And
because we're essentially running 3 events for the revenue of 1.
Yeah, and I'm very excited in 4 weeks to see what you guys have put together, because it's going to be unlike anything I've ever.
Me too.
I mean, have you been to any of these virtual cons yet?
I haven't. I haven't. The a lot of the volunteer on the back end, the volunteers are doing so much fun legwork for us, and they've helped create Google Docs that we've seen with this event do this and this event do this, and we're able to we're essentially pick the good things out. So like you said, I've been to a lot of events, a lot of cons around the country. It's because I go and see what they do well and what they do poorly, so that we do the good stuff and avoid the bad stuff. But there just haven't been many virtual events for us to do that. So we're going to be a little bit of a trailblazer. There's a lot of the events, and I'm not even going to name them, but they're doing a lot of the one-on-one celebrity stuff. Because that's the only way that an online event can make money if you're not charging for all the other stuff. And there's not a lot of money to be made there. So everything, like I said, we're working within a budget that is very minimal to do this, which is why we don't know what that paywall portion is going to be. Or what the line in the sand is going to have to be to even just to break even. Because we really can't lose money on this endeavor.
Of course not.
But we're trying to do things in a very smart way, like we have even with our live events, because we want to keep the prices down year over year, because we're charging way less than the product that we're giving you every year. And we want to try and keep it that way. But like I said, we are a business. You're right.
Absolutely. And I feel like that gets kind of you guys being a business gets lost because a lot of attendees, they don't see that, right? And
well, we foster a lot of ownership in the event. We want the community to be involved. We want like the surveys that we send out. That kind of gave us the answer to what the paywall is going to be, because people answered honestly. So
you guys always do a great job of involving the community on your decisions. I love that's like I said, I love that about you guys. You guys do a really great job of engaging your community. I don't really see that in a lot of other like especially people who run the con. And I get like for a big, huge corporate con, it's maybe a little difficult to do that. But you guys are the owners. You guys are speaking for your product and your business. One thing I love that you guys do that I haven't really seen in any other con is you guys have a end of the con panel where you guys come up there and it's kind of like you guys line up and say, okay, give it to us. What did we do right? What did we do wrong?
We call it the Sunday Bitch Fest. You can come in and just let us have it.
I love it.
But even within that realm, where people could just let us have it, we usually just get some constructive criticism, which we take and incorporate into the next event. But we get a lot of pats on the back, essentially, which at that point in the weekend, we really need to hear it, because my job is to make sure that nobody sees the bad stuff. Because even as smoothly as you think we're running, there's something always going wrong somewhere. And it's my job to just keep it out of the public eye and fix it before it becomes a big thing to everybody. And we've gotten better with that over the year. In fact, the last couple of years, have run so smoothly that I've actually gotten to sit down and watch parts of panels, which I had never been able to do before.
Yeah, I remember seeing you at some of those. I was like, whoa, wait, this must be going pretty well if Carl's over here watching. Because usually I know in years past, you were not at these panels. And I remember seeing you at some of them like, okay, this must be going pretty well if he's able to sit in here and relax and
Got some time to
it's
sit
a
down,
good
huh?
indicator.
take some time.
If you see the senior volunteers or the owners of an event participating, things are probably going
Things
well.
are going well. Do you guys plan on having an end of the week or end of the con panel at the virtual con in some way?
We should. Yeah.
I think you guys should absolutely do that.
We
That'd be
should.
good.
Yeah, because I mean, if it goes well, there's every intent to incorporate it in the future. So yeah, we need that feedback. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I've gone to every single one you guys have had, and in having been there, yeah, you guys don't get a lot of negative criticism or negative feedback. I mean, the feedback you guys get is, like, oh, what could you guys have done on Georgia Street that you guys didn't do? And for those who don't know, Georgia Street's the big, massive, party street in front of the convention center in Indianapolis, or this particular celebrity wasn't so, didn't do something right or wasn't a good guest. But nothing really attacking you guys your con sucks, I'm never coming back. I've never really heard that. I've never heard that actually at any of these you guys have had. So I appreciate you for doing that. That's it's got to take a lot to be able to stand in front of people.
Yeah.
While it's still going on, even or closing, to do that.
Yeah, at our most vulnerable, because I could not be more tired on that Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's one of those moments where some choice words may come out if wrong things are said,
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't.
So I think it's a great,
No.
and that's why I think it's so great, because it's definitely a vulnerable position to be in. But if they don't come out, you guys don't have anything to worry about. Just, hey, let's take the constructive criticism and let's build. Let's work together to make it better,
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, Carl, that's all the time we got for the day. Thank you so much for being on the show. The virtual event is set for July 10th to the 12th, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm sure you guys will have more details. And,
The sooner the better. Yes, we're working on that. Yep.
Absolutely. And you can also go to the Facebook. I'll put these links in the YouTube video so you guys can go to the Facebook group and you can go and harass Carl about what color shorts he's going to wear.
Do you know that I'm wearing shorts?
We don't know.
See, that's another.
You can always see
question,
us from the waist up, man. But thank you, Carl, for hanging out with us today on the Dragoncast, and I look forward to it, man. I can't wait to review this virtual con. I'm excited.
Excellent. Appreciate it.
Can't wait to be there, man. But guys, thank you for listening to us. You can find us on Spotify, Google Music, Apple Music, SoundCloud, and of course here on YouTube. And until next time, we'll see you guys.
Later.